Now, the National Chief Imam, Sheikh Dr. Osman Sharbatu, condemns the shooting incident at the whole Central Mosque, describing it as an affront to Islamic sanctity, a threat to national security, a deviation from basic civility, and a tribute to outright impunity. His condemnation follows last Friday's attack when masked gunmen stormed the whole Central Mosque and opened fire on worshippers preparing for Jummah prayers, injuring about 11 people. Police say 14 suspects have been since arrested as investigations continue into the incident, which is linked to a protracted imamship dispute in the area. We will be hearing shortly from the personal assistant to the National Chief Imam, Dr. Abubakar Mohammed Azindu. But first, let's hear the statement from the National Chief Imam, read to you by Gemma Apia.
Unity in Ghana. His Eminence, the National Chief Imam, Sheikh Dr. Osman Sharbatu, expresses disgust at the shooting of Muslims by Muslims in the Central Mosque of Ho last Friday. His Eminence condemns the incident and describes it as an affront to Islamic sanctity, a threat to national security, a deviation from basic civility, and a tribute to outright impunity. In the words of the Grand Imam, the gun violence is traceable to the contest for the Volta regional imamship between Sheikh Ali Muniru and Sheikh Anas. He, however, reiterates that Sheikh Muniru is the legitimate Volta regional imam and Sheikh Anas the deputy imam. His Eminence explains that the selection of Sheikh Muniru has not been an imposition, but a product of consultation and mediation. He therefore does not understand why a resolved matter continues to be a source of violence. His Eminence explains that the selection of Sheikh Muniru has not been an imposition, but a product of consultation and mediation. He therefore does not understand why a resolved matter continues to be a source of violence. His Eminence describes both leaders as his children, from whom he expects solidarity and cordiality in service to Allah and humanity.
Well, the personal assistant to the National Chief Imam, Dr. Abubakar Mohammed Azindu, is on the line with us, and we're grateful for your time on the polls. Now, what steps has the Chief Imam taken following the shooting to ensure that this doesn't happen again?
The opportunity, greetings to all Ghanaians, greetings to the cherished viewers, and a prosperous new year to all Ghanaians. It is important for all of us to understand that this issue is multidisciplinary. And of course, it is an issue of religious leadership, social order, national security, and criminal justice. And therefore, the first step taken after the shooting incident is to assemble the members of the advisory board who served as mediators to consider all these thematic areas and then see what we can do in response to the incident. But it is important for us to understand that ours is very clear. We want peace and reconciliation to prevail. At the time that we mediated, it was not a subject matter of investigation, of police investigation. We also understand the limitation of the mediators within the context of the national security and then police investigation. So we have made it clear that we will continue to pursue the peace angle in a context of tact and diplomacy, and whatever is left with can be handled by the various institutions, the security agencies, the police. We do not pray that it becomes a subject matter of prolonged litigation. We do not want it that way. We also want to make sure that whatever be the case, His Eminence National Chief Imam, who symbolizes unity and peace in this country, will have the opportunity to consolidate peace between the two I don't want to call them factions, between the two parties.
All
because
right.
yes. That's exactly what His Eminence has asked us to do. And in that case, we intend to engage them. We would have done that, but at the weekend, it was very difficult for us to get them. We'll engage them. We'll also engage all those involved outside their parameters so that we'll be able to have a collective solution. Ours is just to ensure that peace prevails in that region.
Dr. Azindo, so, I mean, like you rightly said, there are two parties involved in this situation. You are yet to engage both sides, but this is not the first time an incident like this has happened, even though it doesn't, culminated into such a position as it is now. But what we would like to know is, really, what is the Chief Imam's knowledge of the stance of these two sides? Where do they stand in this situation?
All right, let me emphasize one point. This is not the first time we are engaging them. We engaged them before the shooting incident. And as I mentioned in the press release, but the outcome that resulted, the outcome of the whole mediation was that Alhaji Muniru should be the Imam and Alhaji Anas should be the deputy Imam. During the mediation, we engaged them in a series of sessions, and we concluded that that was the best for both of them. But it is important for people to also understand that ours is not a trial. No, ours is mediation. And when we are talking about mediation, parties should consider two fundamental values: sacrifice and compromise. It is not a matter of interest. It is a matter of striking a reasonable balance between interest and responsibility, or interest and the collective social order of that environment. So this is not the first time we have engaged them. We also want to make it clear that our strategy remains confidential because it is strategic. And once it is not yet in full operation, we do not want to give details of our strategy because, of course, it is said that when a strategy is not well handled, it becomes a tragedy.
Well, you said earlier that you were...
Let me. So as I said, when a strategy is not well handled, it becomes a tragedy. Already we are handling a tragedy. We don't want to contribute to the tragedy that we are handling. So.
Well, you make it clear that before this incident happened, you engaged both sides. Exactly what do you think went wrong for it to have culminated in the shooting?
Well, that is why I am saying, remember my opening remarks mentioned the need for all of us to understand the issue as multidisciplinary. So we are not interested in a matter of wrong or right. We are interested in peace and reconciliation. To be frank with you, as it is now, it is in the hands of the police. So we'll all listen to the investigators, and that is why in the press release, His Eminence the National Chief Imam appeals to the police themselves to handle the issue in a state of impartiality, so that at the end of the day, we will all know the truth, and based on the truth, we'll be able to have a collective solution to it. So I'm sorry, it is premature or even irrelevant to us to know who has gone wrong and who has gone bad. Of course, when it comes to mediation, it is not a matter of right and wrong.
Dr. Azindo, that wasn't the question I was asking. What I was trying to understand was you were mediating between the two sides earlier, even before this incident happened. In mediation, I'm sure you would have come up with some measures or some form of, advice to the two parties as to what they should do to ensure that it didn't, deteriorate into the situation that it did on Friday. And I'm asking you, in your conversation with the two sides, what do you think might have gone wrong? I'm not asking who did wrong or who did right, but in your mediation process, what might have gone wrong that couldn't have stopped it from deteriorating into that?
I think that the answer to that question is known to everybody. One, I strongly believe that compliance with our recommendations hasn't been respected. In other words, there has been a level of non-compliance with our recommendations, because we made it clear that it was not a matter of winner and loser. So the simple answer I can give is that the parties involved have not been able to comply fully with our recommendation, because our recommendation was simple: go back as brothers and sisters, go and pursue the values of peace and reconciliation. Do not do ever anything that will injure the reputation of Islam and then threaten national security in that area. So my answer is that there hasn't been compliance, and I think we will continue to engage them to respect the mediation and the recommendation of the mediators. I strongly believe that if both parties comply with the kind of advice given them by His Eminence the National Chief Imam, based on the recommendation of the mediators, we will not have to deal with this tragedy. It is unfortunate.
Well, on the back of that, we are wanting to know whether there's any succession plan in place to avoid such incidents in the future that the Chief Imam is considering or put in place.
Well, these are details we do not want to share with the public, because to be frank with you, now we are dealing with the issue of violence. Our prime objective is to ensure the return of normalcy to the area. For the details about succession plan and even the imamship, we try, in the name of peace and reconciliation, to avoid them. We do not want to discuss them in public, and we want to know that peace is a process, it's not an event. When it comes to the level of sharing with the public the entire document and then the details of the strategy, I think we'll be able to do so. But for now, it is in the interest of peace and reconciliation that we are unable to share with the public details about the succession plan and other matters of the imamship.
Well, beyond the two sides that you're trying to engage, what has become of those that were injured? We know they were, discharged from the hospital, but do we know their conditions currently?
Well, we have tasked our people in the local area to visit them. His Eminence National Chief Imam also intends to visit them, and we believe that they are better now. And that's why His Eminence even paid for them in the statement. We are monitoring the situation, and at the right time, we will share with the public what is supposed to be shared and what is supposed to be kept under the banner of confidentiality.
Right.
But we believe that they are doing well now.
And just before you go, the suspects that were picked up by the police, how is the case being handled?
Again, as I said, multiplicity of dimensions. These suspects are being dealt with by the police. That is purely a matter of crime. When it comes to the criminal angle, by law, we have little or nothing, in fact, nothing to do. So it is only the police who can tell us. But then, before you go, before you go off, let me appeal to you, the media, to be very decorous. I think you are doing it. I enjoy my time with you. This session is very good. I like your line of questioning. I'm appealing to you. I take this opportunity to appeal to you and other media houses to be professional, impartial, peace-loving, law-abiding, and reconciliatory in their reportage on the issue. I think that will be a huge contribution to peace building and maintenance in that area.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abubakar Zindo is the PA to the National Chief Imam. Have a nice